Incubus 8 Random Rockers is the review for today. If you're wondering where Incubus is at now, well, it's been... Can't exactly remember the exact date of when it happened, but if not now, when was awful, and I'm here to tell you, they got out of that slump. And at the very least, that's all they needed to do. Very most, I would have liked a thrice level comeback, but that's not happening here. It's not. Sorry. But that's just how it is, guys. However, what I can tell you is that this album, if comparative to anything, is that they kind of backtracked, but went back. They backtracked in here into the Science and Fungus Among Us days, but not in the ways you'd think. Especially given the way they kind of chose to end off the first track, No Fun, which, oddly enough, is actually a really fun track. Before following up with their first and lead single, Nimble Bastard, which at first it was kind of like, mostly due to the production of it, feeling a little off, though eventually that track would grow on me once I heard it a certain particular way with the lyric video. And, yeah. I'm just already gonna tell you, I enjoy this album. It's like I said, it's not a thrice level comeback, but this album, ironically called 8, of course, is their 8th studio album, if you hadn't figured that out already. For those of you Incubus fans out there, which I believe you will not be disappointed with this record, necessarily. There are some ideas that happen in this record. In fact, the one thing I didn't realize, I didn't bother to look it up, I was just going off the hype, and then I saw right here, looking on the box, you can read it. Guess who's producing it? Guess who's producing it? Fucking Skrillex. The only thing that makes any sense is it's Sonny Mayo of from first to last. At least he has some rock credentials, not to mention even has Skillet. He's remixed for rock in some cases metal bands. More in the new metal category, I guess. Which Incubus has been lumped in in the past. And at least for the most part, this album is produced by the two, I guess, mostly sole original members, which are guitarist Mike Engineer and vocalist Brandon Boyd. And I will say, first vocally, it seemed like they were buried by the band, which at least the band is lively. Within No Fun, eventually that kind of changed within the latter tracks, I guess. And eventually it grew on me, and eventually I started to get the vocals come out. For some reason, with other listens, it seems to come over clearer, which is weird. With No Fun. And then, of course, you have your follow-up tracks. State of the Art, I don't know why that was a single. That kind of worried me a little bit, because it seemed like it was kind of closer to that lower energy style because this album is literally like Grenades, taking everything you to come to know from A Crow Left the Murder like Grenades, but not trying to be so low energy boring like the last album was. And of course, Nimble Bastard and the follow-up track to State of the Art, Glitter Bomb, were the reasons why I was hooked on this album. And some of these tracks kind of do deal with what happened with Brandon. I think part of the reasons why things haven't worked out as well is because they just never felt it anymore as a band. I guess that was clearly obvious with the last album, and it's good to know that they finally, and you could tell they're getting their stride back with this album, because you're having fun with them. And I think No Fun might have been something with maybe both the relationship and the band's own relationship as well. Well, the track following Loneliest is the track that kind of is where things go different, and I slightly start to worry, but not in the way that makes me think, that makes me question the integrity so much of the band, even though the follow-up track could do that for you, but not really, because it's like, they got their sense of humor back from those early days. The days which that follow-up track was When I Became a Man. Basically and it comes off very Faith No More-ish, almost in the vein of the last Faith No More album, which for some reason the name is escaping me right now, so check that out on Facebook if you haven't. I will get more information about that later, and you'll probably see it in the description below. He says follows it up, which is fine, and I'm hearing that was the actual collaboration Skrillex had with the band, even though you barely can tell with that one. Love in a Time of Surveillance was, I guess those are the tracks that I feel somewhat the weakest in there, but some of this was also about Brandon Boyd's relationship with his ship that he hadn't been in a long term with, and it just kind of, I mean, they broke it off on somewhat good terms, but it still kind of clearly affected him and hurt, and it's kind of traced in with some of the tracks all over this album a little bit. But it seems the band has finally gotten their stride back again, and with this album, even with following up, and there's because No Fun has this weird kind of thing going on, and then I think it was in Love in a Time of Surveillance. You kind of, some people aren't going to like it so much because then it's kind of going to start off reminding them of the days of dial-up and waiting for a good connection, which I feel like is part of something to do with how love is nowadays. It's now comparable to what dial-up was back for us in the early days of the internet. In that time of surveillance. Get it. Anyway, the follow-up track, Make No Sound in the Digital Forest, is actually an instrumental track. It is far better than Scarlactica. Far better. And I liked more Make Yourself. It's Science, Make Yourself, and Morning View are my pretty well up there as far as the top 3 albums to get from INCUBUS. It's here nor there with the Like Grenades and whatnot. So it's pretty well those 2 albums prior to If Not Now When, Like Grenades, A Girl Left the Murder, and mixed in with some of the early days humor spliced here and there. Of course, following up Throughout the Map with some night, which follows up perfectly synced with that of the instrumental track, and kind of just Throughout the Map. Don't look back. I mean. Overall, I'd say this album, I'd almost just give it an 8 out of 10 just out of spite, because just to smile for obvious reasons. But really, it's kind of a 7. And I'm not going back to that. However, that being said, even in that 7 out of 10, I would still bump it up and say thumbs up out of just my sheer fandom and saying that, yes, go get this. It's definitely you're waiting for something as an INCUBUS fan. It works, but it doesn't have an overall experience. You're better off listening to the 3 albums I had mentioned before as opposed to this. But still, it's worth checking out. It's worth your time. And that Loneliest track is pretty well a trap-infused R&B type of track, really. Anyway, I don't know if I specified that earlier, so I'm letting you know that, guys. Okay, guys, INCUBUS 8, what you guys think? Comment below, let me know. Rock that like button with thrust if you must. As always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. Also, so follow me and like me on Facebook. Everything will be down in the description. Once again, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. Take care, y'all. Shaka Ka, motherfucker.